Cue the rumors and all of the trade discussion, folks, because earlier this morning it was tweeted out by agent Shumi Babayev that one Yegor Chinakhov in Columbus has officially requested a trade. Here is where everything comes from. It is from Shumi Babayev Agency's Twitter account. Unfortunately, they don't have too many followers, but this is the official account of the agency that represents this player. Yegor Chinakhov went out there and said this: "I had some misunderstandings with the coach during the season. Now, I would be glad to have a trade. I would like to move to a different location. Will I return to Russia? As long as I can play in the NHL, I will keep developing here." At Blue Jackets NHL. Now, here's the thing, man. It's kind of weird. When was the last time we saw an agent take it to Twitter for his own client to request a trade and publicly put it out there himself, rather than having any of the media guys, the Pierre Lebruns or the Dragers, the Friedmans or whatever? Usually it's the reporters who go out there and get this info out there to the public. But nah, this time it's the agent himself. This is like Alan Walsh with the Peter DeBoer sword stabbing Marc-Andre Fleury in the back type of thing. The agency represents the player, and the agency is straight up saying here, yeah, the player wants out. He's had misunderstandings with the coach. He doesn't feel like he is in a good spot. He'd be glad to be traded here. Now, before we dive into any of the extra info, because believe me, there's a lot of extra info here, let's talk about the player at hand. Yegor Chinakhov is somebody that I think a lot of NHL fans knew very quickly ever since he got drafted 21st overall by the Blue Jackets in the 2020 NHL Draft. That was the October draft, where the entire season and the Stanley Cup was put on pause because of COVID, and the draft was done virtually. A lot of people were super surprised to see Yegor Chinakhov be a first-round pick because he was eligible for the 2019 draft and was undrafted over there. In 2020, though, this was a player that dominated the MHL and had a pretty good cup of coffee with the VHL, and then inevitably got drafted. You can see here that he was taken 2020, and when you look at the draft projections, this guy was ranked as low as 249th by future considerations. McQueen had him at 49th in 2019. He was unranked in 2020 when he was entering his second year of draft eligibility. When Yegor Chinakhov was drafted, the entire Sportsnet broadcast was like, hey, we don't have any footage on this guy. We don't really know what he's about. We don't know anything about this Yegor Chinakhov. And Sam Constantino, the noted prospect guru on the Sportsnet broadcast, didn't even have anything to say about this guy. So really, it was an out-of-nowhere draft pick in 2020 when the Blue Jackets took Chinakhov 21st overall. But inevitably, we saw him do some very good things in the KHL. He had 17 points in 32 games the year after. And then he made the regular Blue Jackets. And this is where we start to see the normal production out of Chinakhov. He has slowly gotten his points per game up there. In 23-24, he had 29 points in 53 games, 16 goals too. Really, the biggest aspect of Chinakhov's game was that goal-scoring heavy shot that he brought from the wings. But this previous season, he was slowed down due to a lack of time played. He only had 30 games. He had 15 points, which is fine. Slightly less point per game than the previous year, but then again, only 30 games really does hurt a guy. So for Yegor Chinakhov, on a team in Columbus that does have a decent amount of forward support, what with the Kent Johnsons, the Kirill Marchenkos, the Voronkovs, the Monahans, there's a lot of guys above Chinakhov in the pecking order, and you can say that for this guy to develop a little bit better, he might need to get a better role. You can say that, right? You could make the argument that that is the case. Obviously, though, the NHL is not a charity league. You're not going to be given higher minutes just because you're young and you want it. No, you got to work for these things. It's just going to be difficult to overtake some of the guys in Columbus's system. Let's head over back to Shumi Babayev's Twitter account and read more. In this situation, the player's opinion is the most important to me. However, we are fully aware that there is an active contract in place, and if Yegor's request for a trade does not materialize, he will continue to give 120% in fulfilling his responsibilities. I always stand by the player, especially in this case, and I understand that Yegor's desire to be traded did not come out of nowhere. I am in close and productive communication with the Columbus management. I am grateful to the CBJ leadership for their cooperation and understanding, but I fully support my player and will continue to act in his best interest. Now, I can totally hear the conversation that this sort of discourse being posted online maybe isn't appropriate for an agent, but I will say it is good that the agent is standing by his client, he is doing what the client wants, and he is hopefully doing all this for the best outcome possible for the client. Now, the reason this started to get more traction was because it was posted by Aaron Portzline. He had a tweet earlier this morning saying that the Blue Jackets are aware that Chinakhov wants to be traded, and they've had trade talks, but GM Don Waddell says he's not going to simply accept the best offer to appease Chinakhov. He'll only move the guy if he gets an acceptable offer. The expectation is he will be at training camp. Story coming. So the Blue Jackets, they're also doing their own business here. They have to stand by their own morals. They have to do what's best for the organization. I will say it is kind of interesting to go into the season with the idea that, yeah, there's a guy that doesn't want to be here. We already know he doesn't want to be here. The league knows that he doesn't want to be here. All the fans know that he doesn't want to be here. But he's going to be here because we can't just trade him away because he wants to leave. We're just going to have to wait. Like, I think about the leverage and I think about, no NHL team is going to offer Columbus a lot. They know that this guy wants out. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, is it not? It's a fallacy that completes itself where Chinakhov wants out, the Blue Jackets know he wants out, but everybody else in the league knows that he wants out. Therefore, teams are not going to give him what he wants, or teams are not going to give Columbus what they want in a trade, which holds him back from being traded at all. So it's kind of a weird situation, I would say. Let's head over to the Columbus Blue Jackets subreddit and read some of the thoughts from the folks over there. This was posted earlier this morning, the Shumi Babayev tweet, how Chinakhov does want out. Make him play out the last year of his contract, in my opinion. What could he even fetch at this point? I agree, 100%. His potential is still super high because when he's healthy and he's playing regularly, he is super dynamic. But those injuries have tanked his value and we'd be getting pennies on the dollar. Less now that this entire situation has become public. Yeah, exactly. He has no value. If he plays well and still wants out, then he would at least get the team some type of return. Another reply says, update on the situation from Portzline. That's sad to hear. Honestly, what triggered it? He was injured for most of the season, so I struggle to see what the issue is. Maybe he wasn't playing on the top line like he wanted to. 2 reasons were given in the interview. The video interview. Oh, there was a video interview. Interesting. The first was a lack of communication with the head coach. The second was the dissatisfaction with the lack of proper treatment for his back problems, which he says solved with one operation in Moscow. That's really interesting. He has a great shot, but that's about it. His trade value is depressed due to his injury liability. He's decent at passing too, but yeah, him being injury-prone hurts his value, and I don't see us getting much for him. He's a 45 to 50 point per year player with 25 to 30 goals if he gets prime power play time and stays healthy. Here is a post by Portzline a couple of weeks ago. Chinakhov has plenty of talent, the shot, the speed, but he has had trouble staying on the ice. And if there's one thing veteran GMs loathe, it's a player who is frequently injured or is perceived to be unwilling to push through pain. Yeah, that's hockey guys for you, man. Hockey GMs going out there and giving the opinion that guys need to always play and be available. But ultimately, this is what we're dealing with here. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Yegor Chinakhov, Columbus Blue Jackets forward, and his formal trade request in the media today. Thoughts in the comment section. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.